what we're going to do today in this recording is show you how to create a company page, which is a huge thing for all of us on LinkedIn, because it's where we're able to then showcase the work that we do, particularly as entrepreneurs. Now, the one thing about creating a company page on LinkedIn is it sounds very official, but there is no commitment that you have to make to LinkedIn that this company has to be a registered company or anything like that. I've created a company page for my business, Licia Doing Career Strategist. I've created a company page for my podcast, Career Revolution Podcast, and I've created a company page for my membership, the Career Strategy Club. So you can create company pages for all of the different entities of your business. Now, having said that, your main business is what you create a company page for. The podcast for me and the Career Strategy Club for me made complete sense for me to create different company pages. And I'm actually just going to go, I'm logged in your profile as you. I'm just going to log on to show you what I mean by that, so that when you look at my profile, you see everything. So if we scroll down, there is my club, Career Strategy Club, my membership, and I created it last year, and I've been able to call myself a founder of that. Then there is my business, Licia Doing Career Strategist & Co., which I've been running for 12 years. And in your business, you can create different titles. So the one title for me is Career Strategist and Creator. Remember, LinkedIn is keyword rich. And that Circle of Influence video where I showed you how to find the people that you're looking for, dependent upon what you call yourself in your own company page, is what you're going to be found for. And because I love speaking on stages, I've definitely created a professional speaker role in my company page. The main one is career strategist, and then there's professional speaker. And then again, here is my podcast, Career Revolution Podcast, where again, I've called myself career strategist and then podcast host. And then if you click on further into my experience, you can see there is some actual companies that I've worked for that show up. But the rest are really my entrepreneurial journey.
So Licia, I was going to ask you why you did that. So was it mainly so that you could really showcase your offerings in a way? Because I immediately, as you know, having my own business and my own accounts, think, oh, you don't want to have 3 that you have to maintain like you would on Instagram. You know, it normally makes sense to have 1. So here I'm seeing the 3. Would you then go and post in all 3 of them, or are they really just to show up in this way?
So the algorithm of a company page is a very different algorithm to a personal page. Remember, on LinkedIn, you have to be the person first, unlike other social media where you can be a company page first. So you have to be Ingrid Budge on LinkedIn in your personal capacity, and then you can create company pages. So because the algorithm for posting on LinkedIn for company pages isn't that strong in terms of, I don't spend a huge amount of effort posting a whole bunch of content across all 3 of these pages, because that would just be insane. I would just be a slave to having to post. What I have done, though, if you click on these pages, is I've just created some museum posts. So a month ago, there's a nice post that talks about the framework of the club. If you scroll down, here's an example of some digital downloads you get. And then another post is the different stages that you work through. 2 months ago, another digital download, and so forth. Frequently asked questions. So I just keep it, and you'll see there's absolutely 0 engagement on these posts. And that's fine. I'm not posting them for the engagement. I'm posting them for when someone sees this in my home feed on my LinkedIn profile, they're going to come here and go, ooh, what is this company all about? Now you have the option of populating your company page. You can share a link directly to the company page. And then there's obviously posts. So for me, the posting principle is just to have enough posts that people can see this is Licia, she's running this, there's some interesting thing here. But the main call to action for my company, my club, the Career Strategy Club, is I don't necessarily want people staying on LinkedIn, scrolling through all these posts. I want them to click into the club. I want them to click onto that website of the club. So I just have a few. And in fact, I mean, I'm surprised that they're a little bit more than I anticipated. And I had actually posted a month ago because here I'm saying I don't post that often. But look, a month in social media in terms of LinkedIn and Facebook is like graveyard stuff. But there's just enough here for people to scroll through and see what it's about. I mean, you can't click onto the link of my club and get information about the digital downloads. You've got to join the club. So the posting here is about whetting people's appetite, but the main call to action is click, go,
yes,
come and find out about the club.
And then, Licia, with that, I know you're going to get into how we generate a company page in a minute, but
yes,
I know from the personal page, setup that you shared with us before, that you can get your website to show up there, on that sort of first page on the left there. And so I guess my question to you is, why have you not done that there?
So I've done my immediate call to action on LinkedIn is book an appointment. So you can click into my contact info, and there is my website, 3 different places. So that leads to the blog page. That's for links for more. I mean, that's the company page. But I want people to book an appointment. I want people to be able to reach out because my lead magnet is book a 20-minute free career strategy appointment. So if you click onto that, it opens up immediately into my Calendly page where people can then register for it.
Okay,
and then it's straight onto Calendly. So you'll see that there are various call to actions here. People will have book an appointment. You can have view my website or view my services. And that all depends on how you're positioning yourself on LinkedIn and what you've created. This scroll through that's moving here, which is a little bit distracting, is a new function that they've created on LinkedIn for premium users. So you have to be a premium user. That's why there's that little gold badge there. Premium user, where you can add a carousel to the back of your background image. But my feeling about a premium user is that you only want to upgrade when you understand the tool of LinkedIn, when you've got everything fully populated, and when it's all working for you. LinkedIn fundamentally is not just a profile. It's where it's how you find people and then how you communicate with them. So I don't want anyone to be concerned about that right now. And let's get to you and get to creating your company page. So if we go down onto your profile, you've got Unilever, you've got Metamorphosis, and you've got your fractional role that you've got now here. So what we need to do is Metamorphosis needs a company page of its own. And the most important thing, though, is we want to create Working Women's World as
that should be great.
Now, the one thing about creating company pages is LinkedIn hides it for some reason up here on this interesting tab that says for business. I suppose that makes sense, but you click on those little for business tab, and then it opens up a whole bunch of things that business owners can access. But the most important we want to go to here is create company page. Then I'm going to click on that plus, and then it opens up the company page function. Now you have the option of creating a company page a showcase page, which is a sub-page associated with this existing page. We'll talk about that in a bit, or an educational institution. Now, you might find, I mean, it's my absolute bugbear that many of us with wonderful schools can't connect those schools to our pages. It's because the schools haven't created an educational institution page. They've gone and created a company page. And then the only way it doesn't come up in the education section. So then people say, I once worked at the school, and the whole thing is a mess. And every time I work with a client and I find that their school isn't right, I say to them, please email your alumni association, email the headmistress or headmaster of the school and say, get it right, because it's such a missed opportunity. But here we are. We're going to click on company. So you click on company. And the first thing LinkedIn wants you to do is name your company. And this is very important because we want to check that we can actually, woman or woman?
Woman, woman's world, yeah.
Woman's world. And as you're typing it in, LinkedIn will tell us whether it's available or not. And it is available. So that's what the page will look like. You don't have to have a website for creating a company page, but you can. Yours is working.
It's www.world.co. Nice and easy. So it's your www.world. So Lisa, are you doing the World Wide Web in the front there or not?
Yes.
Okay, so it's www.world, as in working women's world. It's very confusing with all the W's. So it's
perfect. And
so it's two
right.
W's, and then the third one is world. So you can take out the
and there's no dot.
No dot. It's dot. That's it. Just like that.
Okay, perfect. Great. So naming your company is obviously your company is going to be the name that it is, but if you battle to find one that's available, there are different ways that you can go around this. But at the end of the day, you don't want your company page on LinkedIn to not speak to what your actual company is. But I have had that with some clients, so we can come back to that. So industry is very important. Now, the LinkedIn industries are really quite limited. You just have to type in something and then it starts coming up with all of the different industry categories. Now, these industry categories are what LinkedIn expand with as and when there is this need and the demand. So, I mean, it's strange, but would you say that yours would be professional training and coaching? So there isn't a page, there isn't an industry name for entrepreneurs.
Right, yes. No, well, look, it's either that or it's business coaching or something like that, if they have that. I don't even know.
Business consulting services.
Yes, it's probably that.
Okay. This is an important thing. An important thing is to get the industry right, but often it doesn't correlate to the dynamic entrepreneurial businesses that we have. It doesn't have an industry for podcast, for example. It has media services. So you have to just play around. But a good thing to do is also use that search tab and look at other entrepreneurs and see what other entrepreneurs are naming, what industry they're using.
Okay.
Then it gets
okay,
organization. Next thing is organization size. And I mean, obviously 0 to 1 employee, but we all have VAs. Some of us employ AI VAs. So you can choose your size of company. And in your case, Inga, would be 2 to 10 employees. So you'd select that. Organization type is where you then specify it. So this is kind of process of elimination rather than choosing the best one. It's not a public company. It's not a government agency. It's not a nonprofit. It could be a partnership, privately held, sole proprietor, or self-employed. Now, I have mine as a sole proprietorship. I don't think there's a real big difference here in terms of what the requirements are. It's just what relates to you.
Yes.
Privately held might seem like it's the The organization types are limited. Remember that the majority of users on LinkedIn are based in the States, so this tends to be
Okay.
they refer to. So I would suggest that we either go sole proprietorship or self-employed for Working Woman's World.
Lisa, why not privately held?
Because I think we can go with privately held, but I think that it does relate, or I know I was in a training course with an American who was talking about this, and that privately held might mean it's a privately held registered business. Not all of us might have privately held registered businesses, but if Working Woman's World is, and that feels closest to you, then that's absolutely fine.
Okay.
The LinkedIn police aren't going to come and check and ask for these documents to confirm it's privately held, but we obviously
Yes.
want to be as authentic as possible as we set
Yes.
things up. So
Yes, I'm just thinking that because it's a PTY limited, so it's not a sole proprietary, so that's
okay,
why I thought
so then
it's probably best.
it is privately held, and then that's absolutely right. I mean, my podcast page, I've got sole proprietorship. I've
Right.
actually used all of these for the 3 different pages that I have, self-employed, privately held, and then sole proprietorship. So you
Yes,
go with what
yes.
obviously makes the most sense.
Okay.
LinkedIn asks you to add a logo, and this is 300 by 300. Very important to get this logo worked on Canva. Now, in the training, there's a template for a 300 by 300 logo because we don't necessarily want it to be, I mean, this is what it looks like. It's very square. And if you have a beautifully detailed logo that looks exactly like it is on LinkedIn, we have to be careful that it doesn't confuse people. So we do want to consider that. And then LinkedIn asks us for a tagline. Now, unless you have a tagline specifically that you could add here, what I'm just going to do, because we're going to come back to that, is I'm just literally going to add ... LinkedIn doesn't register that ... is not your tagline. And you've got here 120 characters for this tagline. Now, a character on LinkedIn is a dot, a space, and a letter. It's not just a letter. So there's quite a lot of stuff here. That's the same size, 120 characters, the same size you have for your headline, your personal profile headline. So you do want something to be snappy, but we can come back to that. Right now, the most important thing is that we want to verify that you're an authorized representative of this organization, have the right to act on its behalf in the creation and management of this page. Now, LinkedIn do request that we read LinkedIn page terms. So I do suggest that everyone goes there. I'm going to right click and open that in a new tab. They do update that every now and then, but it's really straightforward page terms. And the thing that they are very hard about is that you cannot represent a company that you are not an authorized representative of. Now, I've had many instances where my clients have worked with amazing organizations, and then there've been multiple different company pages of those organizations. And one of them was a very unhappy ex-employee who created a company page, used the name, used the logo, and then posted all the negative stuff about this company on
Oh
LinkedIn.
gosh.
So
Yes.
LinkedIn will be strict with that. So from an entrepreneurial perspective, we're okay. As long as we can prove, my podcast, my club, and my business is my business, that's what LinkedIn wants to know, is that we are just going to prove that. But understand that that what LinkedIn are going to be firm on is somebody pretending to be a Unilever company page when that doesn't exist. The likelihood of that happening now is very slim because you couldn't just, Unilever's name is already taken. So once you type in the name here, nobody can take that name. So that is why I say to all of my clients who are making the transition from corporate into entrepreneurialism, or they're in an entrepreneurial field, is that when you get your company page, I know I said that the algorithm doesn't suit a lot of posting, you don't need to post. For me, it's about tagging, getting this beautiful LinkedIn URL, which is in your name, because remember, the search engine optimization of LinkedIn, nobody can beat. So what we're going to test this when we go with more training videos, Ingrid, because your actual working woman's website potentially can't beat the search engine optimization of LinkedIn. So it's not going to be immediate, but certainly over the next 2 weeks, we'll keep Googling for your website to see what's going to come up first, the page or your website. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. And Lisa, before you push create page,
Yes.
I'm going to so Working Women's World's got the apostrophe at the top. If you'd pushed create page without putting the apostrophe in, so in other words, you misspelled your company name, would you have to go back and create a whole new page? Would it all be registered then and you couldn't change it?
So I think LinkedIn potentially must have, they're on their memory database, whatever, thousands upon thousands of deleted company pages, or company pages that are defunct, that aren't deleted. But if they're not being used, they just clear those out and they just delete them. So you could come back into the existing page and change it. So you wouldn't have to create a whole new page. Come back into the existing page and change it. Now, right now, this page is not associated with your profile. We are creating this page and setting it up. We need to go onto your profile to connect you to it so there's visibility there, which for me is also very important. It gives you the opportunity to create your company page in the background without it being attached to your main profile. In the instance of the work that I do, and recently I've been working with 2 senior executives who are, one is moving, as a result of a retrenchment, and the other one is moving as a result of a retirement. It's not right for them to change their LinkedIn profile, that they're no longer associated with these corporations. That doesn't prevent them from having to build out their company page in the background, populate it, spend time on the description, and have it all looking great. And then when they're ready to change over, that they've left big corporate role and they're now in a founder position or a consulting position with their own company, they simply just update that on their profile. So creating a company page like we are is just populating the page. We've not yet connected it to your profile, which I think is a really great opportunity to, get it set up. Does that make sense?
Perfect sense. And then Lisa, also with naming the company page, so as I was saying earlier, Working Women's World is a PTY Limited, but my brand name is Working Women's World. So do you put the company name or the brand name there? Same thing with like Metamorphosis, because Metamorphosis is actually registered as Metamorphosis Marketing Pty Limited. I just refer to it as Metamorphosis, So is there a rule for out of those? Okay,
there isn't a rule. I mean, if you read through those LinkedIn page terms, they will probably say, represent your company as close to the company name that it is. But this is where you, as the owner, the independent person that's developed it, you get to decide. If, strictly speaking, if we put PTY Limited, that is what the entity is of Working Women's World. But do your followers, do your community, do your Instagram people, will they resonate with PTY Limited? You don't have to put it there. You can simply have Working Women's World. You could write community, you could write enterprise, you could write anything here. So this is where you really want to think about it. For me, you're creating a company page, Working Women's World, is for you to primarily attract those business owners who are going to want to become part of your business. So does PTY Limited further enhance it, or does it confuse them if they see Working Women's World PTY Limited on LinkedIn and then they click on the website and it doesn't say that? So it's a little bit like registered name and trading name.
Yes, okay, that makes sense. No, and I see also it lengthens the actual URL as well, when you add the other stuff in. Okay, no, that's perfect. And I'll just leave it like that. Thanks.
Okay, and now we're going to come back and then we click create page. So we haven't added a logo, we haven't added a tagline or anything, and nobody's following us. The most important thing is we have got the name of your company, correctly in your company name. And I must say, I was a little bit concerned running, well, it was a good thing that we were running this as a training video, but there was a strong chance that your Working Women's World name might not have been available as it is. So I think it's great that we've got that. Then here we are on the page, and LinkedIn love telling us what we need to do. So they're going to prompt a whole bunch of things here, but what I prefer to suggest is that you go down onto the left-hand side. Basically, you just have this main page shows you recent posts, how to maximize your brand. There's a really great webinar there, which I suggest that everybody watches, which is great. They change this often. LinkedIn then give us our performance, which we'll talk about. And then it goes to joining conversation, and you can add pages that you want to follow that are relevant. But that's really going into the sort of second stage setup. Right now, we want to go in and finish populating the page. So on the left-hand side, you're going to click Edit Page. And then it shows you in a nice sequential checklist of all things that you need to do. So here is where you're going to upload your 300 by 300 logo from the template link that I'll share in the training so that everyone gets the right size. There is your URL. This is your tagline. So you can come back in and populate the tagline. And then LinkedIn immediately tried to sell us to upgrade, which you don't need to do. So that's what we come back to. Then if you click on the button info, this is where your custom button on your page, you get this set up. So at the moment, you can choose between contact us, learn more, register, if you have a link that's a register, sign up, visit website portfolio, or visit store. So you've got a couple of different options that you can run here. All of them will lead to that URL. You can take the message button is also allowing, so the custom button is what people will see when they come onto your company page. You can switch this off. By switching it off just simply means that you're not driving people anywhere, but it's a great function. So it's nice to have it switched on, and then you can decide where you want people to go, dependent on how your website is set up and what your call to action is. The message button is allowing members to message your page directly. Now, what I have done for my podcast and my membership page is I have this turned off, because what it does create then, each company page, you end up with a separate inbox. And I find that a little bit insane in the membrane to have to keep track of. So I've got this switched off, the podcast and the membership, but it is switched on for my main business. So in your case, Ingrid, I would keep this switched on for now.
Yes, yes.
Then the next thing that you're going to go through is you click on the home and it has manage featured. Now, this is for posts that you have shared. So as I described to you, you can feature on your page key posts. So the key posts that I featured on my pages are the things that are directly related to a call to action that people respond to. So when you looked at my page for the club, you saw a whole bunch of information, but there was the featured page, which was join the club. And then we get into the key details, which is about the company. Here is the about. So this is what shows up when people see your company page. You've got 2,000 characters. A character, again, is a space, punctuation, and a letter. So that's a lot of information that you can include here. And this is where you want to tell what your business is and who you relate to. So who you help, what your business is, who you help, and what problems you solve in that nice call to action sense. If you didn't have a website, you could click my organization doesn't have a website. This has to be a website URL. So you can't lead to a social media page. You can't lead to an Instagram page. You have to have a website. But I'm starting to say to people, and I have in the last post-COVID, so the last sort of 18 months to 3 years, I've started to say to many of my entrepreneurs, don't worry if you don't have a website, create a company page first. Build the website after, build the website out after. So if we didn't have a company or website, we would just click my organization doesn't have a website. It doesn't affect anything because you can still have a company page. But in your case, you have, so we've got it there. And then this is what we filled in. Now,
here's a question. Sorry to interrupt, but just before you go past it. So you got to have a website URL, but could you, if you were doing some, you want people, let's say, to sign up, in my case, to my membership, could I put the URL that goes to the landing page? Because my landing page is on my website, but it's not visible. Could I put that URL in there, do you think? Or does it have to be your main domain?
So you mean it would be this and there would be a forward slash,
forward slash,
exactly.
But it's like yes.
Well, let's just type that in and then that, I mean, I know that's not necessarily it, but it seems to be fine. So you can forward slash to other things. I would say that conversation is all about what's the first call to action that you want to have. So you could have your website, everybody comes to your website, but then you have a post that leads them directly to it. So there are a number of different iterations, and it's entirely dependent upon what your first call to action is, your business, and what you manage. For the purposes of this, I would say this training, which is basically just setting up a company page, we want to set it up and have it all populated with everything. Once you've then got it, you can see what the response is. Phone number would be your cell phone number. You don't have to include a phone number, but I like that there is that option. You certainly aren't going to be inundated with phone calls, or maybe you are, but then you've always got that option of managing it. I've always had my phone number on all of my LinkedIn profiles. It's highly visible, and I don't get spammed or scammed at all. I just get the right people who are interested. But most people aren't going to phone me. They're going to follow what I tell them to do, which is join the membership or what have you. But you don't have to populate it. So you can leave this blank completely. When was Working Women's World started? Because we do need to put the date in.
It was end of 2019, so just before COVID.
Okay, so 2019, we put the date. And then specialities is important. And this is where you would add what you offer. Well, you said business consulting. So we're going to say business consulting. You can type anything, and it might even come up with the funny spelling mistakes that I make. And you just add speciality, and LinkedIn allow you to add up to 20. So you could add a whole bunch of specialities which are visible on your page. And look, anything you type on your page is going to respond to keyword richness. So it's important to have all the relevant elements there. And now we must click save. Now, they're not going to let us save unless we've got a description. So I'll just have to put ... for now. And then we click save. And so this is something that often happens with LinkedIn. And it's so interesting is that when you go into creating a company page, it says another admin is trying to make changes to this page at the same time that you are. And it doesn't seem to be that it's another admin, it's just a glitch that comes up in the system. So if we try a few times to add the specialities and it doesn't let us, then that's fine. What I'm going to do is just click out of here, which doesn't change anything.
It's interesting that came up, Lisa, because when I was setting up the company page for Cybernetic Shield, I had the exact same issue as well.
And we know for sure that there is no other admin trying to work on Working Women's World company page because they don't even know it exists. So it's just a glitch within the system. So what I'm going to suggest is that don't worry, the page is set up. We're going to discard edits. And it seems to be when you add specialities, it seems to be something on this details page that it limits us. Let's go further down. So then it has workplace. Help your company stand out for people to find you. So you can then add the type of work. This is obviously not entirely relevant for an entrepreneur's company page, because this would be relevant for a company looking to hire companies. So I have these switched off. Commitments is also about, this is where you've got to lead talent to showcasing pages on your organization. So again, I keep that empty, but locations is important, and you would want to add in. So you can add in your street address, but you don't have to. You can populate the area, and then we are going to choose your location, which is Australia, and then city, which is
Gold Coast.
Oops. Sorry, it's like watching. And the province would be?
Yes, Queensland.
Queensland. Postal code, I'm not sure, so unless you know, but we're just going to put something in.
4217.
Okay, let's hope that they let us save this page. Ah, they've also done it. So what we're going to do is backtrack, and rather than populating anything else, this often happens. So if it happens while you're trying to set up your company page, don't worry about it. I'm going to say discard edits. The page is still created though. We have it and it's all here. What we need to do for LinkedIn to see that this page is an important page that's going to be a part of someone's profile is add it to your LinkedIn profile. And maybe this is what LinkedIn have done to prevent us from creating a bunch of company pages without adding them to our profile, because we have to be a person first, an individual first on LinkedIn before we are a company. So we're going to go into the plus button on your experience section. I'm going to add a position. The first thing I do is I go to look for the page that we've just created. Working women's, and it's a thing, world. Now, look how many different options came up, and there is yours. We know it's yours because it doesn't have a logo. And now we're going to select a title. What would your title be for Working Women's World? Founder.
Founder, yes. Founder, CEO, so something remember, like that.
Look, founder is going to appeal to the startups. CEO is going to appeal to the corporate. So again, you can come back and you can change this. And remember, there's a whole bunch of different types of roles that you could have for your company. I never select employment types. I don't think it's necessary. I never select employment types. Certainly as an entrepreneur, it's not relevant, and I don't advise any of my corporate clients to do it. Now you're going to put the date of when it was started. So we know it was 2019. 2019. You can add the month if you want. And
I wouldn't worry.
Yeah, LinkedIn give you the option of ending current position in this. We're going to keep that open because we're going to run this concurrently. You don't have to end any of your positions. You can have this running concurrently. The location is Gold Coast, which is important because that is what's going to remember when we did that growing your circles of influence, the most relevant people come up in your geo-relevance and industry. Yes. Location type, they give you that option. I don't select that. I mean, you could say remote, but I don't. And now this is where you're going to describe what your founder role is at Working Women's World.
Right.
You're going to describe that. 2,000 characters. LinkedIn asks you, where did you find this job? This is all for their research if you found it through LinkedIn, which is obviously not relevant. You can add skills to this, but I don't do it. I don't suggest doing it on an entrepreneur's company page because it really scatters the way that page is viewed. It looks very busy. But what's so key and exciting is you can add media. Now there you can add a link and you can add an image. So if we immediately go to the link and add your actual business website, it allows you, and it takes a while to view the link, and it depends on how the link is seen, and then it brings up this thumbnail. So often I have got a rich link hack, a rich link tester hack, which is also in the guidebook of this training material, because you don't want this thumbnail, and it just means that LinkedIn doesn't know what it's pulling through correctly with that website. But it has pulled through your meta search tag, and then that's what you've got in your website, and then you can also add a further description here. You can even actually go and manually upload a logo if you can't get that link viewing right, and obviously that all depends on the website. But for those entrepreneurs who don't have a website, it has to be a URL. So you could lead to a YouTube, you could lead to any URL, file or video that connects your business. Now I'm going to click apply, and then that's all populated, and now we're going to go save. And this then will allow us, because we're telling LinkedIn we are absolutely, do you want to post from this? No, we're just going to say no. We've now connected this company page to your profile, and we can go into this company page and it'll allow us to make all of those changes. So if we go back into edit the page and add those specialities and so forth, we'll be able to do it because LinkedIn see it as being connected to a person, and it will allow us to make those changes. And that's the simplicity, of following the process of setting up a company page. We are going to talk about a number of things on once the page is populated. But for now, Ingrid, I think we're going to give our viewers and course attendees an opportunity to catch up and just get this company page populated. So I'm going to stop recording now, and we'll come back when that page is fully populated. There we go.
Great, Lisa. That was awesome. Okay, I must go in there and fill in, all the logos and stuff. The one thing I was going to ask you, Lisa, so that little block at the bottom there with a thumbnail, I see it shows up in my personal, sort of like, list of whatever job experiences. So what kind of picture is best to have there? Is it just your logo again? That little, so that block with the logo will come up, right? But the one, what about the one beneath it there? That one.
So that's because that's your, and I've got a link that I'll send to you that I'm going to add to the training, which I'll send. That is, I can't find it now. I've sent it to somebody. That is because LinkedIn they are taking a while to register with your URL. That's why it comes up.
So that will disappear.
That will eventually disappear, but you've got to tell LinkedIn what it looks like. So there is a link to fix that, which I can send to you. But if I click on it, it opens up to a business page.
Right. Okay.
So
maybe
it opens up.
Right.
Yes, it will. It's not.
So it's processing. Okay. No good.
Processing. Yeah.
Okay.
Ingrid, that's that. So should we do, it's already 11:30. Should we do another quick recording about all the functions? It's a bit tricky. I can't do it from your page. I have to do it from my company page. All the functions that you have.
Right. Lisa, whatever's easiest for you. We can do it another time. I can set this all up properly in the meantime. If you want to rather do it from mine, but if it's easy to do from yours, honestly, I'm flexible.
Let's do it and do it from mine.
From yours. Perfect.
I just have to go into mine, so that recording's done and then it's sorted, and then we can go through. I'll log into my profile. Okay, so I'm going to
shut my door because it's creaking as the wind blows.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to hit record. Will it be,
Okay.
that'll be a separate video? Yes, it will. Yeah.
Yes, yes, it'll come up as a separate one.
Record to the cloud. Okay. Okay, so this training is about all the different amazing functions that you've got within a populated company page. So we're using my profile for this exercise because you've got all your company pages that you're going to be populating and setting up. So when I open LinkedIn, this is the view that I get. Takes me straight to the home tab, which is so crazy and distracting, and all of these red notification figure, like triggers, I've got to do this, got to do that. That's why it's so important to not follow what LinkedIn want us to do, because they want me to go through all these notifications and I have to ignore that and then
Lisa,
come down.
sorry to interrupt. I'm just seeing the old, my old page still up. So I think maybe I'm not seeing your latest screen. Do you want to start that recording bit again?
Yes.
Maybe just stop sharing and yes, and then go again. Okay.
And then
So maybe
share.
start from here.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll just stop it and we can restart.
Okay. Let's do that again. Oh, cancel. I thought I had stopped. Okay. So the recording is stopped. Let me go into the share of the right screen first. There we go. And then hit the record. Okay.
Yeah, perfect. That's it.
All right. Lovely. Participants can see that. That's fine. Stop recording. Yes, I want to stop recording. Sorry, it didn't stop recording.
Oh, didn't it? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'll make sure I send you the correct links, Lisa. Don't worry, because there'll be a few little ones with, arbitrary.
So the one in the middle is going to not be the one. Record
Yeah, no problem.
to cloud. All right, here we go. All right. So we're now going to talk about all the amazing features that you can populate and use on your company page. And to do that, I'm going to show you from my company pages. I just wanted to point out that when I open LinkedIn, remember LinkedIn would want us to stay distracted and on the platform for 5 hours. So LinkedIn opens immediately in the home tab, which immediately starts giving you serious scroll distraction. The other thing that LinkedIn does, which is just a psychological loop, is show us in little red trigger notifications. You've got 17 things here and 2 people want to connect with you. And the why I want to be on LinkedIn and what my plan is for LinkedIn has got nothing to do with what LinkedIn wants me to do. So I ignore all of this. So as business owners, we need to remind ourselves that this is a tool and we are the ones that are in control. So down on the left-hand side of the LinkedIn view, LinkedIn will show you your profile. The Career Strategy Club is the company page that I most recently created. That's why it's visible on that small view of my profile. But here is all of my company pages. So what I'm going to do is show you the population of the page that I've had that's been the longest running, which is what I called my business, Lisa Doing Career Strategist Co. Because my name is my business name, I needed to obviously add the co for people to see that this was the business page versus being my profile page. Now, if you just click the create button, this is what LinkedIn give you as the option. Obviously, you can start a post, but we're going to talk about creating an event, and we're going to talk about publishing an article. So when you go, you click on the create an event. Now this is creating an event from your company page, which LinkedIn allow you to do, which is called LinkedIn Lives. Now you do need to have a third-party streaming app app to be able to create this event. You can use Restream, you can use StreamYard in order to go live on LinkedIn. You can't go live directly on LinkedIn. And you click on create an event, and it's opened up the event creation tab. And the first thing that it asks for is for you to upload an image. Very important to get the right size. It's 480 pixels, 16.9. Again, that's going to be in the checklist of images for LinkedIn, along with the company page logo. Now, you can select whether the event is online or in person. If you select in person, you then need to give an actual physical, you could fill in an actual physical event space or the event link. So say, for example, you are hosting an in-person meeting as Working Women's World or function, you would then have an event link that might be where people can buy tickets, or you'd have an event link on your website for people to register, and that's the event link that you would post in there. An online event means that you would need to select the type of format. Is it a LinkedIn Live or is it an external event link? A LinkedIn Live means that it's going to come up on LinkedIn Live and viewed in the feed. An external event link means that you're going to take people externally to your online event, which you can use and which I use for my events, because then it forces people to register on Kartra, which is the platform that I use. So it is a LinkedIn Live that I'm choosing. I am going live on LinkedIn, but I want people to register on the external event link. You then choose your event name. I run career strategy sessions. In fact, I can actually just quickly upload the image because it'll help, and I've got it right here in my folders. So for the first Friday of every month, I run career strategy sessions. So that's the image that I have. And in the image, it's very important that you actually put a lot of the details around the event, because that's what people are going to see first when you share that. So you want to double up, even though all of this information is replicated in the event itself. It's quite nice that people understand what it's about, who's hosting it, when it's happening, and so forth. The alternate image text is where you would describe this for people who might have, who are visually impaired. And then you're going to click. So there's my image added. Now, it's an online event. I'm going to click external event link. It's a career strategy session. You need to choose time zone. So it's very important that you choose the correct time zone, because LinkedIn will default to any time zone, and then you'll have people joining your event at all the wrong hours. They give you a start date and an end date. I'm not sure why they specifically have an end date. It's to account for the fact that people might have in-person weekend retreats, I suppose, but you have to be careful here, because sometimes the start time, if you've got the wrong end date, it looks like you're going to be online for 48 hours. I often don't have an end date, but the nice thing about having an end date is that it gives people an idea of how long it is. So my events all happen at midday. So it's actually 12 p.m. that I need to choose, and then they normally run for 45 minutes. So I'm just going to choose there, 12:30. So it gives people an idea of how long it is. And there's my calendar. So there's the event link, which goes to my Kartra calendar for the career strategy session that people need to physically click on, and then they're able to access it. LinkedIn give you this wonderful function of using a LinkedIn registration form, which means everybody who clicks on this event and registers for it, LinkedIn give you a CSV download file, which is fantastic. But if you choose this option, you must have a private policy link. So you have to tell people what you're going to do with their information. What I generally use here is my website private policy, and it's not coming up now in the saved info, but there it is there. So there I have a privacy policy, which is actually a file on my WordPress site, privacy notice, and it tells people what I'm going to do with their information and how I'm going to manage their detail. And then I can use a LinkedIn registration form, but it's not necessary. You don't have to have it. Then here's where you fill in the description. What is your event about? 5,000 characters. So this for me is a really nice thing. I like to use emojis. I like to use white space. I like to use something like a big hook. This doesn't have to be, this event is about a career strategy session. This is kind of like the equivalent of a YouTube description box. Something exciting and enticing. And then if you've got different speakers talking at your event, you would add them here. You do need to add yourself, because this is on my company page. So you do need to add yourself as a speaker, and then you could actually add different speakers. I'm looking for you, Ingrid. There we go. You are now speaking at my event. Now, if I click next, here is what LinkedIn do. LinkedIn immediately say, you've created an event, you've got to tell everyone about it. So the very next thing LinkedIn require you to do is post about the event. You can schedule the post for when it suits you, so you don't have to create an event this week and then you've got to post about, create an event on Monday and the event is in 2 weeks' time. You can schedule the post for later, but this is where this is what the event looks like. So there's the image, and then it has the information, and then it has the view event. So if people click into that view event tab, it's going to open them up into the actual event itself. And this is where I've populated everything that's important there. And if I wanted to create a post, sorry.
When you say it's going to open, if you click view event and you say it's going to open up the event itself, is that like joining the event live, do you mean?
No, that means the event page. So
LinkedIn, and then they'll see all the details of the description.
Then they see the details, and then they register, and then they click it, and then they join the event live. Yeah. So it gives you that option. Now, up at the top, because it came from my company page, it's automated to my company page, but I can now select, no, it's only me who can post. Only my company page can post this post. It allows me to decide who I can post to, so I can choose a more targeted audience. Yeah, but this audience targeting as the company page for me has never really worked. I would always just post directly to everyone on LinkedIn. That targeted audience is for large organizations like Unilever who have millions of people following their company page, where they could say this is just an event for people in the EMEA region. It's not. Targeted audience function never works for a small company page, and it depends on how many people are following your company page, obviously, too. And you can comment, you can control the comments. So you can host an event, and here go into the comment control and select that nobody can comment on the event page. But comments are LinkedIn Gold. Comments are engagement. Comments are what boost your post, whether it's an event or a native post or an article, into busy LinkedIn highways. No comments means that your post, your event, your article stays in the quiet road that no one's walking down. So I wouldn't take off comment control. Again, this is just a function because we now, as an entrepreneur, have the ability to host an event like a Unilever that has millions of people following, and like just us as entrepreneurs who might have smaller followers, which is quite exciting. So in order for me to save this event that I've set up, I have to post about it. And I don't want to post about it, obviously, because it's just a test. So I'm going to click out of there. And then if I go back, will just take me to that page, that post. If I click out of there and I click discard, the whole event disappears. It's now not there. So that's the exciting thing about the function of company pages. Now, if we click on my events page, it shows all the past events that I've created, which I absolutely love, because anybody can come onto my company page and go into all these different past events. Now, I've used events to share Career Revolution podcasts. So I will create a live podcast on LinkedIn, and that's where my event runs. I've also used it where I've done some master classes myself. And if we go all the way down to one of my earliest events, there was an event, some of them have been deleted. You can see where I didn't know what I was doing back then, because they didn't even a proper event logo or anything. But let's go into...
So Lisa, these are all recordings of that exact event that are stored here under events.
That are still active on my company page and under it. Now this was, I'm just going to pause so that we don't run into it. This was the Career Revolution podcast interview I did with Abigail in 2022. And
Wow.
Here it is on LinkedIn, the actual event itself. Here's all the people who attended it. So you can see the attendees, because you can invite people to attend your event. So these are the people that chose to attend it. I can message them now, and it's 5 years later. I can go back to Alan and Julian, and how did you find the event? And remember you attended the event. So there's just so much richness in terms of lead magnet generation.
Yes.
And then here is what the event actually looks like. So this is the event page. This is running because it's already happened in the past. But the event page would look like this when you hadn't even set up the event. So the first thing is, this is where I've populated information. So I've described what the event is. I'm going to be interviewing Abigail, an overview of Abigail and I, the speakers, and there's a call to action for Abigail. Choose, do an archetype quiz, and there are the two different speakers. So there we are. Then if you click on...
That's created before the event.
So this is the description of the event, that 5,000 character box. I said you want to make it look quite dynamic with emojis, which naturally I've not used my own advice here, but forgive me, because this was 3 years ago when I was learning how to create events. So this is the detail of the event. You get 5,000 characters, and you want to use white space and make it look exciting and attract people to it. The other section is that you get your comments. So this is where people have commented in and during the event. So you can get comments from people before the event. You can get comments from people during the event. So all these comments that you're reading now were actually during the event. So here's some lovely, this is where Abigail and I were talking to each other in the comments. There are a whole bunch of comments here that took place during the event. And then I can repost this event. I can resurface this now and go repost with my thoughts, or just repost directly. All of this stays stored on LinkedIn, on LinkedIn Analytics. Next column here after the comments is networking. So it shows you who attended the event that was connected to you. It breaks it down into where you studied and then the total amount of attendees. So as soon as people start registering to attend the event, I always send them a message saying, looking forward to the event, thank you for registering. So you've got the option of doing that immediately with people here, and it gives you a breakdown.
And that's manual. Is that a manual reply?
Yes. Yes. Okay. Event messaging, everything. LinkedIn does not allow any bulk well, there are platforms that use it now, but LinkedIn will throw you into LinkedIn jail if you're using a bot or a system to bulk message people. It has to be manual. And then here's the analytics, which is quite cool. So it shows me that 37 people attended. Event page visitors, I'm not sure what it means by that. And then see the attendance metrics is currently, for now, we need to actually go to the event date, which was all the way down in 2020, and then find what those attendance metrics were, which I'm not going to do now because that's quite a lot of viewership going through. So it's going to show all the links, and then it gives us some post analytics of that actual post that I posted 5 years ago that shared. When I created the event, I had to create a post. So there is the post. And if you click on it, which is why I love LinkedIn, is it very quickly takes us back to the event. And that's the page. That's what I shared 2 years ago. That's what I said about the event when I posted it. And if we go back to the tab that we were on, another nice thing here is that LinkedIn, once you've created an event, you can share it, you can repost it to your feed multiple times, you can create an event in a month's time and repost it to your feed daily. You can send it in message to people, and then you can actually copy the link to this event and share it on other social media channels, because this event has its own unique URL, which you can then share to cross-pollinate to your other social media channels. So once you create an event on LinkedIn, you actually get a URL, which is super great and super fun to be able to use. And then if we click on the manage, it gives us a manage attendees. So it gives us the option of seeing who attended and then who you invited. Now, this is the exciting thing about, I can't invite from this event because it's a past event. It's already happened. But each event that you create that hasn't yet happened in the future, you can invite people to that event. And what's super amazing, exciting about that is you can invite people who you are connected to, and you can use filtering and tabs. So you can click invite, which opens up your network box, and you can then invite people by certain industry, by certain company, by certain school that they've attended. So you have a great amount of control over being able to invite people to events.
And Lisa, the people you invite, I'm assuming have to be people that you are connected to. Is that correct?
Yes.
Or can they just be followers?
They can be they have to be connections. You can't invite a follower, and they don't have to be following your company page. You can you can invite anyone that you are connected to on your personal profile, which is why it's so important. I'm just going to come back to the screen. Why it's so important to grow your circles of influence and connect to as many people as possible that are relevant for you on your personal profile. Because again, remember, you have to be a person first on LinkedIn, then you can create multiple different company pages. There's no limit to how many different company pages you can create as an entrepreneur, but you have to be a person first. And all of the functions then start to unlock, because this is where LinkedIn create that protection to prevent a complete scam artist from creating an event and having a credit card loop that gets you to buy some product that is total scammy. You have to have a profile, and you have to only invite people that you're connected to on your profile. So if you are a brand new LinkedIn user and you've just created your LinkedIn profile and you've created your company page, the event function is exciting, but it's not what you want to go to first. What you want to do is focus on building your visibility through your personal profile, adding and growing your connections, and then you can start hosting events from your company page. I choose to only host events from my main business, Licia Doing Career Strategist page. As you know, I have a company page for my podcast and I have a company page for my membership, but those are both for visibility, both for searchability, and I've just got posts there. I don't create events from those company pages, nor do I write any long form articles or have a newsletter from those company pages. And the next video, we're going to talk about creating a newsletter from your company page, which is also super exciting.